It's a sledgehammer.
Dang! You got shocks, pegs. Lucky. You ever take it off any sweet jumps? You got like 3 feet of air that time. Can I try it really quick? Dang!
Napoleon and I have something in common. We both love tater tots. Welcome to the Rhythm Section Podcast, everybody. We're here to shine a spotlight on Greater Memphis and North Mississippi music community by unveiling the incredible stories of our talented artists. Produced by SRP Studios, podcast-powered branding for business growth. Go to srpstudiosllc.com for a free consultation.
Tune in every Wednesday morning for fresh episodes on Apple and Spotify. Join us at 6 p.m. Central on YouTube and Facebook for Wednesday video releases. For all the details, visit therhythmsectionpod.com.
This episode of The Rhythm Section is presented to you by Hempville CBD Southaven, whose mission is breaking people's dependency on Big Pharma. Discover life-changing CBD products and Delta-8 THC alternatives to opiates and prescription medicines.
Use promo code TRS20 for an exclusive 20% off purchases at hempvillecbd.com and enjoy free shipping for orders $50 and up. And please visit their store at 562 East Goodman Road, Southaven, Mississippi.
Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, and catch the Hempville CBD podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Its purpose is to give you hemp education and market awareness. The best way to support that podcast is to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the link in the description and hit that subscribe button. Visit hempvillecbd.com for all information. Well, good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, sir.
How are you today?
Man, I'm doing awesome. I'm pretty sure that Napoleon Dynamite shops at Hempville CBD.
Oh, for sure. Or if not, he needs to.
Yeah.
Or what's his uncle's name? The ex-football player?
I don't know.
We got a nice relaxed day today. We don't have any interviews as we record this on Sunday, February 14th. No, February 4th.
Yeah.
Sorry, correction, February 4th.
I know what's on your mind.
What's that?
Valentine's Day, February 14th.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of that.
Enough.
Thanks for being here, everybody. We're kicking off our interview with Debbie Jamison today.
Yes.
From the Deb Jam Band is what I'm putting it as, but I mean, it's just a countless amount of artists.
Yeah, she has a wee bit of history in the music business.
Yes. Next week we got Brad Riles.
Yeah.
And Brian Hall for 5 for the Kill.
Yes.
And then coming down the pipe, we got Emma Caroline from 901 Rocks and Nick Ireland.
Yes. Land
Divided and Hairspray Nation.
Yeah.
We got back to back, Emma and Nick, some younger artists.
Right.
We already had Sarah Spain. So it's nice to get the youth in here, hearing their perspective on how things operate now, because, being original artists in this day and age, it's a whole different ballgame,
Yep.
All right, so right out of the gate, we want to talk about something really cool that came to us from Carolyn Mendillo. We're just like a week or so from his 1-year anniversary of his passing.
Right.
I hate using that word, anniversary.
Sure.
But randomly, she texts me yesterday and sends me a picture of a shirt that just randomly ended up at her doorstep. It was an Amazon delivery, no return address, no note inside, totally anonymous. And I'm going to throw up the picture right now. Check out that T-shirt to the viewers. It says, and to the listeners, it's 2 pictures of Pete on his drum kit with his name, and it says Grammy nominated on it.
Yeah.
It's just the coolest thing. And the
It
fact
is.
that someone just sent that anonymously just as goodwill, I'm sure that made Carolyn's day to get that.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Carolyn, for sharing that with me and texting me that. And I was like, we're putting it on the show.
Yeah. And no idea where that came from, the shirt.
Nothing. No idea whatsoever.
And Pete played all over the country. So that could come from anywhere.
Yeah. So if the person that gave this beautiful, wonderful gift to Carolyn, and you watch or listen to this show, thank you.
Yeah.
If you want to remain anonymous, we totally get that. But we get that. But thank you for that. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So I don't know where this person is, and that's the cool thing about it.
Right.
So there you go. Thank you, Carolyn, for sending that to me. The next piece of stuff we wanted to talk about, Jeff, is some local bands are in the studio working on some new stuff that has been announced publicly on Facebook, so we feel safe talking about them. It is our good friend Jimmy Fulp from Broken Snare that is producing some of this work here. Right. We got the Fast Mothers going in.
Working on new music.
Everybody.
Awesome.
So
and
we're
Jimmy,
excited.
For some odd reason, happens to be in town. I think Donna left town and left him here by himself. So
she's retired now, right, Donna? So she's out doing her own thing, and I'm sure Jimmy's enjoying some free time.
Yeah, he's having a blast. And Kevin Cost and myself recently sent Jimmy a recording of one of Kevin's originals.
We're putting Jimmy on the spot right here,
and we're going to be doing. We're going to do some work with Jimmy in the future in Broken Snare Studio. So he's got that recording, and we're going to let him put a little of his magic on that. So.
Yes, and we mentioned Nick Ireland from Land Divided.
Yeah, they've been doing it.
They're working with Jimmy. Again, we're saying this because there's been posts about it, so we're not trying to give away some sensitive information here. But looking forward to hearing some original music. And the Fast Mothers, hurry up. Let's go. Let's get some new stuff, and I want to see a show soon.
For sure.
Man.
And our brothers, Fever Tree, they record with Jimmy in the studio. I mean, he's got a revolving. I mean, he stays busy.
He's doing very, very well. So hats off to you, Jimmy, for producing this beautiful music.
What you gonna do?
All right, it's time to talk about our band sponsors, everybody. We got Seeing Red, Saturday, February 10th at Lafayette's Music Room at 9 p.m. Saturday, February 24th at Rail Garden at 8 p.m. Saturday, March 9th at Lafayette's Music Room again. You can follow Seeing Red at seeingredband.com.
Yeah, and our brothers in Area 51, Friday, February 16th at Rock House Live, Collierville. That's a 9 p.m. start. Saturday, February the 17th at Dan McGinnis. That's a 9 p.m. start. Friday, March 1st at Lafayette's. That's a good one. 6 p.m. start. And then Saturday, March the 2nd at Dan McGinnis, 9 p.m. start. And you can follow those guys at Area 51, Area 51 Memphis. Sorry about that.
No problem, brother. Shawn Few, formerly known as Saturday, February 17th at Lafayette's, 9 p.m. start. And then Saturday, February 24th at Dan McGinnis, also 9 p.m. start. Also, we want to remind everybody of their residencies. The first Saturday of every month is at Neil's. Second Saturday of every month is at Hadley's. And the last Saturday of each month is at Dan McGinnis. Follow Shawn on Facebook at Shawn.Few.7. All right, Debbie Jamison. Man, it was a pleasure having her in the studio. What do you say, Jeff? Do you remember going to Neil's to introduce ourselves to her?
I do. That was either our second or third time to see the Deb Jam Band.
Yes, we definitely caught them over the years, but we had never met her.
Yeah, we'd never approached them and spoken to them.
Yeah.
And, we've learned over the last year that you just don't give a damn. If you want to interview somebody, you just go up and talk to them and ask.
We were like, let's go catch a set. And then pull her to the side, and she was very nice to sit down with us. I wish we would have recorded that table conversation because it was 20 minutes of history.
Yeah, absolutely, and she was gracious enough to agree to come in and do an interview.
Yes.
And it was great. I mean, so much history there.
Oh, it's endless, and you'll hear it. We talk about, the history of her music career.
Right.
And how her influences and how she started working in the studio and doing jingles and backup vocals and all the different studios and producers she worked for. She talks about the musicians that were part of these sessions, right? Yeah. And then this connects to how she met her late husband, Jimmy Jameson.
Yeah, little known musician.
Yeah, you know, so of course we talk about Jimmy.
Yeah.
And what it was also like when he started really hitting it big and big tours, what that was like as a family. And early bands again. And she did a lot of touring too. She did do some road work. So it's hard for us to serve this intro justice because there was so much information. And also for you and I, we didn't have any clue on these people.
No.
You know, it's that deep and it's further down. It's like 70s.
Yeah, a lot of this with her and Jimmy and Jack Holder and a lot of these names that you continually hear on this podcast are from before my time.
Certainly mine.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I was a product of the 80s. If it happened before 83, I don't know much about it, you know. But there's so much history in this Memphis music scene that happened before that.
Oh, it's endless. I mean, you can go. I mean, it goes all the way down to Sun Studios and Elvis and Johnny Cash, and then I'm sure well before that. I mean, it's blues music capital here. But that's all we got today, everybody.
This is a short one.
This is a short one for sure.
We didn't get out this weekend. We've both been hermits and stayed home, so we didn't see any live music that we can really tell you about. But man, I saw all kinds of posts. Everybody's out there doing their thing. You know, all the bands we know and love, and we need you guys to continue to support them and show them that you love them because you know it would be wonderful to think that us local musicians do this for the money. That's really not the case. We do it because we love it.
It helps, though.
Look,
no, I hear you.
You know, everybody wants to make money, but you're not making a lot of money at the local level. You do it because you really love what you're doing. And for people to show up and see us and see what we do and care enough to be there, that's what it's all about.
If you want to learn more about a band that makes no money, check out last week's episodes, Generation X, featuring Kevin Koss and Kevin Greenberg, and then Jeff Ward, too, plays double duty, co-host and interviewee.
Those guys do it just because they love the drummer.
That's why I don't pay Jeff. I just love him, you know. He loves me. That's why he works for free for me.
That's it.
You know. Damn straight I'm your boss. I finally said it out loud.
Yep.
Finally.
Yeah.
Facebook at The Rhythm Section Pod. Instagram at The Rhythm Section Pod. Website, therhythmsectionpod.com. I hope you catch a theme there.
Hempville, CBD.com. TRS 20 for 20% off at checkout because we love those guys.
Yes. Thank you, Ben Cooey. And to Area 51, Shawn Few, and Seeing Red. We appreciate your support as well. And you know what? Go see a band. You know, me and Jeff are saying that after not doing that this weekend, but the weekend prior, we got out. It is what it is. You know, we understand you can't get out every weekend, but we always encourage you. Go check out a band. When the Fast Mothers finally perform again and they're putting out new music,
we'll be there.
Be there.
Yeah.
We'll do our best to be there.
That'll be a party.
Well.
Yeah. And one other call to action. YouTube. Check out the podcast on YouTube. We don't push that enough.
You got a good point there.
You know, it's all Facebook for us, but YouTube is huge for us. So go to the podcast on YouTube and subscribe, comment, tell these people what you think about their interviews. They would love to hear from you.
Now, the name of the channel doesn't match. It's my name because there's other stuff on there. I put it on my channel, quite honestly, because it's monetized. But we always have links in the description. Go to the website, go to the top right-hand corner. You'll see our YouTube icon. Click it, takes you straight to the playlist. Yeah. So YouTube is great, and that's really where a real audience can grow. And YouTube has a great algorithm where if you start getting a lot of views, it pushes you further out, and it just brightens that spotlight on this community. So, all right, Jeff, thanks for being here.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, take care, everybody. Enjoy our interview with Debbie Jamison. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored to have Debbie Jamison with us today. Thank you, Debbie, for making the trip to Hernando from Memphis this morning.
My pleasure, Derek. I'm a vampire, so it's a little rough.
It's early.
Yeah, it is early, I guess, for you, like you said. It's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Early for me.
You're just still old school, aren't you?
Yes. Well,
not only is it early, it's freaking cold out there.
Yes.
It's really a snowstorm's on the way.
Yeah, for context, we're recording on January 14th.
Great Scott!
And just before the snow mecca is supposed to be coming in. We'll see what happens.
Snowmageddon.
Snowmageddon.
There you go.
All right, Debbie Jamison, the Deb Jam Band, and 1,000 other artists that you've worked with. That we're gonna try to tap into as much as we can. This could probably be a 4-hour episode with you.
Okay.
So thanks for being here, and we're here to try to give people your story. You're a very well-known person in town, clearly,
I am.
but there's still going to be people that you are friends with that might learn something new. So we're hoping that we tap into all the deep and dark areas, Debbie. No, just kidding.
I've lived my life, in front of people, so it's all good.
You're probably
It's all
an
good.
open book at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So let's start with being born in Memphis. You are born and raised in Memphis, correct?
Born and bred.
Born
in
and bred.
Memphis. Yeah.
Do we get to ask how old you are?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm 74.
Okay.
Really?
I would not have
Wow.
thought that.
I know. Good genes.
Okay. Yeah, for
Good
sure.
for you.
I know. It's crazy, right?
You could have said hell no. I'm not answering that question.
No, I'm really. That's one of my things. I'm really. I'm healthy, and I don't look my age. I can still sing.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud to be 74. Proud of the wrinkles, and want young ladies especially to know that they can, keep on going. They don't need to worry about their age.
That's outstanding, and that's great because a lot of women will relate to that.
I know. They'll get the face tucked and.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how old I look for 25.
Stop it! Oh my God!
No, I was kidding.
Not that I'm, against anybody doing anything they want with the Botox and all that. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I use Botox all the time.
You do?
Don't.
I thought you were sexier this year. I was like, what happened to Jeff? Either he's using Botox or I'm on new drugs. But for some context, we wanted you on the show this season. Me and Jeff had already talked about it, and then we went to Neil's to see you and the Deb Jam Band.
Thank you.
And pulled you to the side and accosted you and was like, "Hey, let's talk." And thank you for showing enough interest to come here and do this with us.
I really appreciate being asked to come.
Yeah. So this is only the second time we
Ever
talked
met?
to you.
I
Yeah.
know.
I've seen you before. At Neil's and shows, just never introduced myself. But.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I hate to admit this, but the Deb Jam Band is the only place I've seen you perform. And I know that you have got way more than that under your belt, but that's where I know you from. And you guys are fantastic. Great lineup, incredible musicians. You do an amazing job.
Feel free to...
What an awesome band.
Yeah, let's talk about the band. Who do we got on stage with you?
All right, we got Doug McMahon, that's Papa Don's son.
Yep.
Mhm.
I've known Doug since he was 8. He was running around the studio when I was singing with his dad.
Yeah.
We were doing like a, they take songs and to promote stuff and put different lyrics in them for companies, for AV shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working with Papa Don. There's Lou Doug running around now. He's in my band. I love him.
He plays with my friends Andy and Tracy McCullough too.
Oh, they're awesome.
Roxy Lowe.
Yeah, I
What
love
color
them.
is his hair these days?
Blue.
Blue. Okay.
Oh, funny. Not to cut you off here, but we screwed his name up. I had to I called him Doug McGinn.
Yeah.
So next week I was like, sorry, Doug McMahon.
His mama sang with John Mayall. My first session I ever did was with his mom, Dee.
So Doug's from royalty as well.
He's Memphis royalty for sure. Then we got Dave Smith on bass.
Oh, yeah, I know that guy.
Oh my God, he's
Phenomenal.
We hope to have him in here.
He's
soon.
booked.
Yeah.
He's awesome, and he's just on everybody. He plays on everybody's
Yes.
stuff in the studio.
Yep.
And then Gene Nunez, he's a transplant from New Orleans, but he was in like the Deborah DeJean band back in the day, and has played he plays multiple instruments and has his own home studio. Great guitar player.
He does your tracks too, right?
He does our tracks when we play. We use some tracks when we do our duos.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then Jackie, her stage name Jackie Diamond, but it's really Jackie Reddick, and she's a gospel Grammy Award winner.
Oh, wow.
And she's just fabulous. I mean, you heard her. And then Eric Stone.
Yeah.
Eric Stone is
man.
just fabulous, and he's so fun to work with. We have a lot of fun.
Very powerful voice there.
I've spoken to him as well, and that guy, man, what a singer.
I know.
He's amazing. I didn't know that you could get that much soul and just He just digs deep, man, and brings it every time.
And now we've got an additional player we're using at least a couple of weeks out of the month, Grady Henderson. They would call him the Velvet Teddy Bear.
Yeah, I think he was playing the night we said hello to you.
He's really good.
A second guitar player.
No, he's a sax player.
Okay, that's not the guy we saw.
Yeah, we saw a different guitar player the night that we came. It was a black guy.
And your guitar player was on bass.
That's right.
Okay.
I don't remember his name.
Oh, Tony Gentry probably set in with us.
Yeah,
he was great.
And Dave, I guess, couldn't make it.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because, the nights go by so fast.
Yeah.
But I have not seen the Velvet Teddy Bear.
He's
We need to get out and check him out.
You got to ask Dave. Dave named him
Take
that.
you some of those CBD gummies there, Jeff. Shout out to Hempville CBD, Southaven. Thank you so much. So it's Tuesday night. How long have you had that house show?
10 years.
Wow.
10 years.
10
every
years.
Tuesday
Every
at Neil's.
Tuesday at Neil's.
And you guys start at 7.
6.
You start at 6, and it's a duo when you
with
start.
Jim.
And then you bring everybody in at
About 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you play till about 10, 11?
Yep.
Yeah.
10.
10. She's
Yeah.
like, no, 10.
10.
Done.
We're professional musicians. It's not like clocking in and out on a regular job, but nobody wants to stay there late.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
No, I mean, you play your time.
That's right. Unless you want to give us the big bucks to pay over, play over. So, yeah.
Sure. So if you're watching this and you happen to be under a rock for the past 10 years and you don't know anything about Neil's or these guys, get out and check them out because it's a good show.
So
thank you.
What location was Neil's at when you started? Was it the Midtown location or?
Well, he's been out there over 10 years, so it was that location. But
the current one now has been around that long?
Yes.
Okay.
The original Neil's was Mick Neil's. It was on Union across from the medical center.
Okay.
So that's where Jimmy and I first went to see him. And
was that the one that burned down?
I don't know what happened. I think he just moved to the bigger place in Midtown.
But there was one that...
Yeah, Madison and McLean.
Okay.
And it burnt down. I think some kitchen grease overheated. But I was there a lot too.
Yeah.
Did a lot of shows with, I worked with the Breaks, Pat and Suzanne Taylor.
Okay.
Doing some backgrounds with them and Jimmy and, did several shows here.
Awesome. Well, from reading some of your bio and getting to know you at Neil's in our official meeting.
Brief time.
You've been singing since birth, pretty much. I mean, from day one and all through school choir and everything. So let's talk about how you got started and some of your early stories and influences. Okay.
I grew up in a musical family, and my cousins are the Blackwoods. Mm-hmm. So I know you've heard of them, surely. And I've sang on a bunch of their albums. So I had a background group with Jack Holder and Jimmy Jameson, and we did all their I was a Blackwood sister. But I grew up in a musical family, did a lot of church singing and front porch singing, and my brother had a band early on. And I kind of tried to avoid music, actually, because I thought...
You failed.
I know. I looked around and I did fail.
You failed miserably.
Well done.
When the Lord says you're going to do this, you're going to do it one way or another.
Amen to that.
Kicking or screaming or whatever, But I just saw that it could... in the music business, there's a lot of stuff that goes on.
Oh. You think?
I didn't want to be a part of. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, gosh. So now I'm a major in business. And then people just kept asking me to sing in their bands, truly. Yeah. So I started about 18. Doing it for money.
Well, if that's all it takes, I've got a position open. I'd like for you to come and sing in my band.
So but you sang through school choirs and stuff, right?
I did, but I was very shy in high school, so I tried to avoid being heard in in a solo manner.
I was going to ask you if you did solo stuff. No, you were just...
Well, I just tried to hide.
Don't pick me. Don't pick me.
But we had an oral test one day, and you had to go up and sing, and my music teacher just kind of looked at me and said, "Why didn't you let me know you could sing?" I said, "Well, I thought everybody sang. I thought everybody's family was like mine." I didn't know any better.
I'm the other side of that spectrum.
Yeah.
But anyway, she took me on some music trips, like they have conventions. And what they do is like it's a seminar for music teachers. And she'd take me because they could never guess, what I was, a soprano or an alto, or they do that. And I did all 4 of them. So
Okay.
What is your core range?
well, it used to be about 4 octaves. Now it's about 3.5.
Okay. But what are you, alto, soprano? Where?
All those.
You can cover it all.
Yeah.
I can do the boy part.
Okay.
Nice.
A lot of times if we don't have a boy there, I'm the boy. So and I have to say, because Jimmy and I sang, we worked together for 13 years before we had a date. That's
yeah.
And he was the love of my life, and he liked the weird parts, and he liked to sing some bass if we'd let him sometimes.
Okay.
Because he really thought he could. He couldn't.
Oh, shade. Well, Jimmy Jameson, of course.
Just on bass,
So Jimmy Jameson, of course, legendary, sang for Survivor, Target, God knows how many other people, but was your husband.
Yes.
So let's talk about how y'all met and how that came to be.
We met when we were teenagers, and all of the musicians, because I hung out with a lot of musicians, we'd have like softball games, touch football, just get together, and usually on Sundays, when everybody wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
And so we met then just to, and then we started working together. And for Tanner mostly, but for Tanner mostly. And they had what they called a kiddie group then when we started, because their full-time group just couldn't handle all the work they had.
Mm-hmm.
So sad that it closed down, y'all. It was really a great place for musicians and singers and writers. But anyway, we worked there for 13 years together. And then before that, about 8 years or so into that, Jack Holder came and said, he wanted us to sing on, like a background group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like Rhodes, Chalmers, Rhodes. Now I'm going way old school on you. You got to look that one up.
Oh, for sure.
But they had all the session work in Nashville, and we pretty much had all the session work in Memphis for sing at Ardent.
Okay.
And I worked for Pops Mitchell forever, and
so all along you're just
working
co-workers together.
Co-workers, and so we both got divorced, and he called me one night. It was hilarious. I had 2 boys, and he had a daughter,
mm-hmm.
and he kept asking me what I was doing. I said, "I'm feeding the kids," and I said, "So what's up?" I thought he was calling about a session. He goes, "Well, I just wondered what you were doing." I said, "Well, I'm feeding the kids. I'm kind of busy here, And he said, "Well, I cook dinner." And I said, "Oh, that's great, What is it?"
Get to the point, man.
So he finally kept talking about it. He cooked dinner. I said, "Well, what'd you cook?" He said he grilled some chicken and grilled some corn. And he goes, "And I thought you'd like to come and eat it with me."
There you go.
But no, I was like, "Are you asking me on a date?" Really.
Right, yeah.
And he waited about 30 seconds. He said, yes, I am. I said, "Okay, well, this is weird because I've worked with you for so long. And since I started working with guys, I look at them like my girlfriends,
mm-hmm.
Because, being the only girl, usually it can lead to a lot of problems if you, I just looked at them like my girlfriends. So I told him, I said, "Okay, I'll come over and eat." I said, "Is there anything green?" First of all. He goes, "Yeah, I made a salad." I said, "Okay, I'll come and eat that salad and the corn and chicken. But we need to talk because this is really strange. I don't even know what to think about this."
And that didn't scare him away?
No, if he hadn't been scared away by working with me, then he was never going to be scared.
Well, obviously, though, he had his eye on you.
I guess he did.
Did he ever tell you how long he was interested in?
Yes, he did.
Was it all 18 years?
It was actually, I worked part-time at clothing, the first hip clothing store in Memphis called The Electric Outlet.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Malcolm Levy and Billy Ross opened it. It was over on Poplar and Evergreen, I want to say, in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I used to come in there and watch you while you were working. I mean, I was like, why did you come in there and watch me while? Because I'm a girl. Girls don't do this kind of thing. I mean, do boys do this?
What you're telling us is he stalked you.
Yeah, stalking.
He stalked me before either one of us ever got married. And then life went on. And but yeah, and then we worked together so long, and we had a great working relationship.
So, begs the question: how is his cooking?
He can cook some things.
What year was this that this meal took place? I'm going to put you on the spot.
1981.
81. Okay.
I was eating Gerber food. Easy for me to say.
Oh God, y'all are babies.
That sounds like I got a mouthful of goober.
I forget.
Yeah, young chickens over here. Well, just way older than I am, but
yeah.
But at that point, when we actually did, it was just funny through the whole thing. He got that gig with Survivor, and he was out on the road. He called me and he said, "I'm not, I can't afford to pay my rent this month. Can I move in with you?"
Wow. So
I know. I was like,
it went from grilled chicken.
Well, no.
This
This is a couple of years later. We'd been dating.
I don't know that we need to put that information out that worked, because there are musicians everywhere that are about to try and find somewhere to stay.
What was he putting in his food?
Be careful, ladies.
He really couldn't afford to pay his rent. So I said, well, sure. We were in love by then. And he goes, and I can't come home and move. So could you get me moved out? I'm like,
wow.
Anything else I can do?
Yeah, I should, yeah. So, no, I gathered up my girlfriends. And
Sure.
We went over and we moved him, and he came home, and, we got married in 1985.
Wow.
Okay. So by the time you got married, you were together, 4 or 5 years?
Not about 4 years.
About 4 years. Awesome. And by the time you're married, is he still, and I'm sorry for timeline,
No,
and
go
his
ahead.
career too.
Yes.
Where was he in his career when you all got married?
He was in Survivor and on the road all the time.
Yeah.
So pretty much at the peak, or I mean, it was close to the peak of his career.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, his peak was Survivor, right? Because then he had a solo career after that, right? Or,
Yeah.
He did, and he helped. He co-wrote the Baywatch theme.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Which was a real big deal.
Yeah.
And that's through Disney. So
Yeah.
yeah, he went out to do a video for that, and he goes, "You know what they asked me to do?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "I had on my best boots. They wanted me to walk in the ocean in them." And he goes, "I'm not walking in the ocean and ruining my boots."
Did they still make them?
No, you can't make people do that.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, get them some props.
Yeah.
Don't,
Are they going to make David Hasselhoff do that? Or they probably just give him the boots?
probably giving the boots, but these were Jimmy's boots.
Yeah.
So Target, though, I hear Target all the time. Was before Survivor? Correct.
My favorite band.
So
he was in,
were
actually.
you guys dating through Target?
No,
or was
no.
that pre?
We were just friends.
Okay.
Just friends.
Okay. And then,
What a great band. They should have just recorded them live.
Yeah.
Great band.
Yeah. Bass player from Almost Famous.
Tommy Cathy.
Yeah. There's some cool videos out there back in the day where he was wearing a suit and everything and wearing the bass super low like he still does. And had a killer bass solo just out there in the front stage playing in front of an arena of people.
Great player, great writer, great producer.
Yeah. Well, let's talk more about you then.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So while all of this is going on, you have tons of solo work or just work that you did with countless artists in town.
I did.
So how did that really start steamrolling for you? How did you get on everybody's radar to want to work with you?
I think it was through Tanner, and those were really seasoned musicians.
And explain Tanner.
Well, the William B. Tanner Company was what we call a jingle factory.
Okay.
And they did commercials and like radio IDs, the call letters.
The sweepers and the jingles.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they do packages for radio stations of several different songs that promoted their station they would run. So, and they did the AV shows, which were huge for Westinghouse or any giant corporation. They put together a whole song. They changed the lyrics to them. I had to sing to a stove once at one of those. You'd be so nice to come home to. Crawling on the stove. I'm serious. Opening the door. I mean, it was,
That's funny.
Yeah, and Jimmy, we did those together too. We had to learn how to jitterbug. And but then Pops Mitchell started calling me. John Fry, of course, was a friend of mine, dear friend from Miss. He called me for sessions over at Ardent all the time. And then eventually I got, to where I was the one to call, and I'd bring 2 girls in with me and just do the background vocals. And this was before Jimmy and Jack and I got together.
Okay.
And they would just call me, and I worked with it's Reba Russell, but when Becky Russell came to town and came over to Tanner, it was a hard place to work. You had to be very fast.
Yeah.
Great schooling for a singer. I had to learn to sight sing, read intervals, because it just goes so fast.
And they expect you to hit it take 1, right?
Well, if not take 1, you better have it by take 3 or you're getting cussed out.
Yeah.
So,
So when you say that Ardent was calling you to come in and do sessions, I'm assuming that's just for various artists that were coming through?
Yeah, Mylon Lefevre, DeCarmo and Key, of course, who Tommy played with as well. And
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And oh my gosh, just any artist. Amy Grant, I sang on Amy Grant's stuff.
Awesome.
Nice.
A lot of people came through Ardent, and they would just need background. And to tell you the truth, this is terrible, but I've forgotten a lot of their names, because it was Steve Cropper called me over there to work with Yvonne Elliman, who was, I think she got her start in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Okay.
You remember that? And then she did that big hit record, If I Can't Have You.
Yeah.
That one. But Yvonne, I went over and should I tell these things on the show? Okay.
Say whatever you want.
Absolutely.
I don't know where Yvonne was and where is right now. No, we're not friends. So anyway, Steve calls me over, and he says, I don't think we're going to do the session tonight. And I said, wow, what's up? He opens the studio door. There's Yvonne. She's passed out under the grand piano with some form of liquor in her hand. Like a big bottle.
As most do.
Right.
And I was saying, well, all righty then, because I learned one thing. You cannot, I have a little wine when I do live gigs now, but you cannot drink or smoke or do any of that when you go to do studio sessions.
Yeah.
Unless, I guess, you're Jimi Hendrix or somebody like that.
No, I'm lucky to be able to play completely sober. So if I do anything that alters anything, I'm in big trouble.
Well, I'm a hired gun. I have to be fast and logical. And
well, I have some names here. I Googled you.
Oh, God.
And there's a lot going on out there. Come to find out, there is a Debbie Jamison in Brentwood, Tennessee that is a marriage counselor.
That's not me.
You were mixed all in. I was like, one link was you, one link was her. And I found this great bio on the Lafayette's website. And I have here session singer for projects Albert Collins, Al Green, Joe Walsh, Jimmy Jameson, Nicolette Larson, Linda Gale Lewis, Peter Michaels, Mark Colley, the Blackwood Brothers, Amy Grant. Crazy.
Now, all that's Ardent work?
No. Some of that was in Nashville. Okay. And Jerry Phillips took us up there for that.
Gotcha.
And y'all know who Jerry Phillips is, of course, right? What?
Mm-mm.
Guys.
Hey,
Sam Phillips,
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
It's his son, Jerry.
Okay.
There's Jerry Knox. I was good friends with. I am good friends with Jerry still. And
remember, I'm eating Gerber food.
I'm sorry. So, but Knox and I were really good friends. I love Knox, and that got me into NARIS and got me on the board of NARIS. I spent some time there, but Knox took us to Nashville for some of these sessions. And some were done at just various studios.
Mm-hmm.
I sang a bunch of stuff for Dan Penn at American, but I really sang for the Box Tops.
Now, where was American?
God, Gosh, and it's so, I think it was on National. That's so long ago, even I can't remember.
That was in Memphis, though.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's way before my time.
So you mentioned Steve Cropper.
Yes. Steve Cropper's so great.
Donald Duck Dunn was very early influence on me. I love the Blues Brothers soundtrack.
Yes.
I love that bass playing, but I'm fascinated to learn about them and Stax Records and, you know, what were those guys like? What was Booker T like? Did you?
I just met Booker T in passing. I knew Ben Colley pretty well. You know, the surviving member of the Barkays when their plane went down. And he used to come and sit in with us. David Porter I love David Porter, if you ever hear this. David wrote so many of Stax's songs, and he used to come out and send him. I worked with Eddie Harrison forever, who's a walking, talking Memphis legend. He really is. He doesn't get the credit he's due. But David would come sit in with us. Rufus Thomas, Carla Thomas would come and sit in with our band. But I never recorded much at Stax. I worked with Bobby Manuel a few times, and it just wasn't my, they like for you to sing it until just like, and everybody play everything at the same time. And that just wasn't my, I just wasn't into that. I mean, I'll put down a scratch vocal and then have the band cut it and then come back and do it, because you sing something 25 times.
It takes all the soul out of it.
My
right?
best taste is going to be your second or third, at least, or maybe the first. So,
but did you hang out with Donald Duck Dunn at all?
I did.
All right, tell me some Duck Dunn stories.
He was very short, like me.
Did he always smoke a pipe?
I never saw him smoke a pipe.
Because that was part of his look and his character.
It was always out and passing at different events, so we never, I really got to know his niece better, and I've forgotten her name, but she played bass as well. And the Memphis Horns, I knew them really well, that played on all the Stax stuff.
Why do they call him Duck? Where'd that come from?
I have no idea. I really don't. I have no idea.
Because it's funny. Donald Duck Dunn.
Yeah.
No one asks questions.
Well, another name that you've mentioned a couple of times since you sat down that I want to talk about for a second, and of course we want to focus on you as much as we can, but Jack Holder.
Oh my God.
We can't interview Jack Holder because,
no, you cannot.
Rest in peace, he passed away years ago, and I only saw Jack play maybe 2 or 3 times, and I feel so robbed because I have heard so many amazing stories about him. So tell us a little bit about Jack and your experiences with him.
Well, Jimmy was in Cobra with him, and Jack was just a phenomenal music genius. He played every instrument. He wrote. He was an engineer, and he did all the arranging when we sang together. And just a phenomenal person and a great engineer.
Yeah.
He was quirky.
Yeah.
A little quirky.
Well, you know what? It seems like all the great ones are. They, but that's okay. You work around it when they're that good.
As a matter of fact, it really broke my heart because Jack and I were just starting on a project. He'd call me. He had a bunch of great songs he wanted to record. He said, I just want to do something to turn Memphis on its head. And we had just started working on that project and sent each other a few songs. And then he got sick.
Yeah.
He had brain tumors,
That's
brain
what happened.
cancer.
Yeah.
Well, I've never heard anyone say anything different than what you just said. The guy was just an amazing musician and engineer. And of course, guitar is what he's really known for, but it sounds like he could do anything.
Greg Redding is somebody y'all should interview as well.
Hey, just give us some names and numbers. We will go
always
after
willing
them.
to take names.
And Greg has a better memory than me. And he's I've known Greg. He started out in the Village Sound, and he was in Black Oak, Arkansas.
Okay.
And had a group called the Hot Dogs.
The Hot Dogs.
Oh, yeah!
But he's great, and he used to rock a B3. I mean, literally rock it, like
Okay.
And
Rock
Oh
B3. I like that.
yeah, and then
Yes.
he's a great guitar player too. He has a band now called Landslide. That's his band.
Well,
That's right. Yeah, we just interviewed Sarah Spain.
Sarah Spain was here last
from
Sunday as we
Landslide.
record this.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
She came and sat in with us.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
She is and that's where Greg met her. teaches at School of Rock.
Okay.
And
Yeah, she told us that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by the time this interview is published, hers has been out. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Great. For a young lady,
Oh, she's really
a
good.
plethora of knowledge too. The history of music and bands and players and albums and songs. It was great.
And being involved with a project like that with Greg and Davey Smith, that can only help you.
Yeah, she was
Those guys are
delightful.
phenomenal.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody in that band is awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
And I can't say enough good things about them.
Yeah.
So we're talking about all of your session work and stuff, but when do you start having your own bands? When do you start creating your own, whether it's original or maybe some cover work? When does that start?
Phase 2 started, and Phase 2 was a phenomenal band. I got spoiled real early, shall we say. They were, I would call them a jazz funk fusion band.
And what year-ish are we talking?
We're talking
80s?
We're talking 70s.
70s. Oh, okay. So while you're doing all the studio work, you were on the side also performing with your own bands. Okay,
Yes.
so let's talk about this band then.
Well, okay, Phase 2, awesome. Rennie Gurley, who sang with Elvin Bishop as well. Her husband, I think she was married to Bill Slays at the time. He was the music director for Elvin. And but Rennie and I were really close. We were the lead singers. I think we were one of the very few bands in Memphis to have 2 girl lead singers. And then we had Steve Ross, whose little brother Mark is in the Royal Blues Band.
Okay.
So that's his little, Mark
With
was just,
Jack Rowell?
yes,
Yes.
Mark was just running around a little kid when I was working with big brother Steve, who was just a great keyboard player. And Sid Garwood played guitar. And Tom Leonardo, who's phenomenal jazz player, played with Tony Thomas Trio. Now he plays with the brunch thing at Lafayette's every.
Okay.
And I've forgotten the young man's name who runs that, but he's really good. And then William Murphy was on bass, and he was like, oh my God. He quit because he became a Seventh-day Adventist and couldn't work, I think from sundown Friday till sundown Saturday. But also
That'll put a damper on a musician.
when Steve left the band, people like James Williams and Donald Brown played. If you Google those names, oh my, just great players. And then we had Charlie Rich had called Rennie and I and offered us a gig. And we're like, they fly on a private jet on the weekends, you make a bunch of money and you come home. And we were like, man, yeah, this sounds awesome, So we gave our notice to Phase 2 over in Little Rock, Arkansas. And the next night on the Country Music Awards or some show like that, he hits on Loretta Lynn right in front of the whole world on stage, the Country Music Awards. And of course, they put him into rehab, and
they canceled him. And this is before canceling became a thing.
They totally canceled him. That gig went out the window. We had signed no paperwork and had no band.
No chance to go back?
Well, no, not after how mad they got. No. No. But that was...
Thanks a lot, Charlie Rich.
And then I just said, I'm like, whatever, and So then Jerry Riley had a group called Second Helping, which was a phenomenal group as well. It had Sam and Rocky Beretta, Bill Marshall, who I'm sure you know.
Yes.
I always tell all those boys, I played with Bill before you did.
If you have Bill's ear, try to get him in here. I've talked to him, and he said he wasn't going to do an interview. But Bill, I think I can get you in here. Just give me a chance.
Well, give him time. He's such a great guy.
Yeah, he is, and a phenomenal drummer.
Phenomenal drummer. I mean, I've never seen anybody take as good of a drum solo as Bill Marshall in my life. So I worked with Second Helping, and then we worked so much, like we had a house gig at a place called The Cockpit. Now, don't let your minds go in the gutter now. It was near the airport.
Sorry, I had to.
It was near the airport, okay? And but after we were working 5 and 6 nights a week. I mean, it was just brutal. And at the end of a year, I just said, I just have to quit. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm just going. And about that time, Rennie called me and says, hey, we're doing a live album with Elvin Bishop. We really need you to come out to California. And I was like, okay.
Don't get canceled.
Yeah.
No, it did not. And I spent a full year on the road with them.
Was that Raisins Hell?
Raisin Hell.
Raisin Hell. Typo here.
You've got to listen to that. There's some stuff you can find. We do
It's Mickey Thomas and Tower of Power?
yes.
Wow.
It was
Amazing.
It was
Little known names there.
Yeah.
It was an amazing band, and I have to tell you though, I got introduced to a whole new world out there. Woo.
Well, you want to elaborate on that?
Well, guys, like they rented out the whole. He was also promoting his solo album at the time too. Hometown Boy Makes Good.
Okay.
And so, I mean, they rented out the whole first floor of the Beverly Hills Bank, and we've got 2 sold-out shows at the Roxy to do that night, and they pick us up in limos and Brinks armored trucks and take us to this pre-party. And there were people walking around with mirrors full of, lines on them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like,
baking soda.
I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you. And they're drinking. I'm like, no, thank you. I'll just have water. Thank you. And smoking and like, no,
So you didn't succumb to the.
Oh no, I'm working.
Well, good for you. Good for you, though. I mean, that's great. That took
But some of the
strength.
Some of the people, I shall not name names.
Sure.
Were doing all that, and I thought, gee, I wonder if they'll even be able to walk on stage.
Sure.
Not only did they walk on stage, they were just unbelievably awesome.
Mm.
I mean, Lydia Pence came and sat in with us, and I know you don't know her probably either. She was with a band called Cold Blood that was a big deal back in the day. So
we do apologize for not knowing a lot of these names.
No.
I've been this type of genre. I've been pretty straight and narrow.
I'm old.
Yeah.
So,
no, I'm not saying you're old. I'm just saying.
I am old. I don't mind.
Yeah.
No, but it's such a plethora of history that you bring. I mean,
it's unreal
because you know so many people.
So we were talking about, and Geraldo Rivera was at that party.
Okay.
By the way, along with
I'm sure he was diving straight into those mounds of cocaine. I'm just saying. I have a feeling.
I'm not naming names. But there are a lot of people like that. I mean, one night, and we go out, most of the shows were up and down the California coast. And they had a flight called PSA. That's all they did. It was like a shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
And Mickey Thomas is one of the funniest people I've ever known. Oh, my God. They had whole episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies memorized. Him and Fly, the bass player. And they would be on the plane and doing all the voices back and forth to each other of Ellie Mae and Jed. And
I enjoyed the Beverly Hillbillies, but I didn't remember any of the episodes.
I thought that was phenomenal. And they would just entertain us all. It was hilarious. Just really good guys.
Yeah.
So, gosh, there's so much to talk about. I mean, where else are we going after that?
Well, I ended up at Robert Palmer's house one night.
That's a good story.
Nice.
I didn't know. I mean,
Was he simply irresistible?
Well,
did he have a bad case of loving you?
he had a girlfriend or wife or whatever, so he was a girlfriend for me.
Yeah.
But he was really nice. But I was ready to go home. It's like 4 a.m. It's like I'm done. I'm like, could you just give me your address? I'm going to call a cab now. So.
They didn't have Uber back then?
No, they didn't.
No Uber.
No Uber. No, nothing like that. Not even cell phones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It must have made things so much more fun. Because it was less distraction.
Well, you certainly couldn't be videoed and end up on YouTube.
Yeah, you can be more anonymous. And
do all kinds of stupid crap and not get caught.
I'm grateful that there weren't cell phones for part of my life.
Sure.
My younger years.
I understand.
Yeah.
Because now everybody takes a picture of everything.
Everything's out there.
And so now we have to be careful.
Well, I'm going to come to current, because I want to ask you some questions about what you're currently doing. And of course, we talked about the Deb Jam Band, but are you still doing session work? Are you still doing that sort of thing here in town or anywhere?
I am. I just did my cousin Vicki Loveland. She's got Loveland Duran, which is a fabulous duo. Van Duren, if you don't know about him, they just did a whole documentary on him, some guys from Australia. And so he's great, she's great. But Vicki and I sang backgrounds on some of his original stuff, on Steve Winger's stuff. And I'm trying to write and finish. I've got a lot of my own original songs that right now I'm working on 2 jingles. So it's like, it kind of like robs me. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. But anyway, I'm trying to get some of my original songs kind of mapped out and then, kind of jam on them. And hopefully in the next year, get them down in the studio.
I would say you know enough musicians to help you out.
You should be able to make that happen. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah.
And there was a night that Derek and I went to Lafayette's with our good friend Mark Goodman.
Mark, and I met Mark. Mark was an engineer.
I'm so glad you brought up Mark.
Me too.
I want to talk about Mark, please.
And that night you were in another band that was playing that night, and that was the Memphis All-Stars?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
yes.
So are you still doing that?
Well, the Memphis, sometimes we still do that, but that's Greg Redding's band again.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of run the gamut. Robert, the keyboard player, has had some vocal issues.
Okay.
And he's already blind, God bless him. Beautiful, beautiful band.
You guys were amazing. That is the only time that I've seen that band. And I hate that because you were incredible.
Thank you. I thought they were too, and I was just I booked them there so I could go and play with them.
Sure, good move.
There you go.
Good move.
You got to do what you got to do.
I cheated just a little bit because
So now we can segue into Mark Goodman.
Yeah, Mark fucking Goodman.
We love him.
I loved that man. Funniest guy I probably ever met. Me and Jeff was, I met him through Jeff. I forget how you met him, but we did some light studio work with him, but he just became a good friend. We'd meet for lunch, hang out. And I always wished that I wrote down all his one-liners he'd always just push out there, because after he passed, I'm like, I wish I had all of everything I heard documented. But God knows how many jokes that man told. I mean, but he was just a sweetheart.
Amazing.
Tell us more about Mark and give us context on his like what made him what he did here locally, because he's a Grammy Award winner.
Yes.
In the gospel category.
Engineering.
Right? He engineered Earth, Wind, and Fire and just all kinds of major people. But please, if you don't mind.
Don't mind a bit.
Spoil us with some Mark Goodman talk.
Well, he started at Tanner, which, I mean, there you have to learn fast. And that's when they had the big reel-to-reels. There was no Pro Tools or anything. And those engineers learned to punch and pull. I mean, that's really, really hard on that kind of format. So he became quite wonderful. And he was hilarious. Jimmy was hilarious. He and Jimmy were best friends. And
how did we not know that?
Yeah.
Because it just never came up when we were talking to him.
It gets hard to work around people like that because you start laughing so hard, you get delirious.
Yeah.
And you have to think somber thoughts, to even be around him. But Mark is just he was a really beautiful guy. He passed away right in front of me on Neil's stage.
Yeah. And was it at a Deb Jam Band show?
I was setting up. And we were pretty much the only ones there besides staff and a couple of the regulars. And
yeah, it was so sad to hear that.
And of course, Stephanie, his daughter, I've known since she was born, and we're good friends. And but Mark was just, he would bring a smile to your face. It didn't matter what kind of mood you were in. And I still, when I'm driving to Neil's, I mean, he was there every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I still drive there and think, oh God, I wish Mark would be there tonight, because as soon as you walk in, it's like, smile.
And when we started this show, I was like, could you imagine if we had Mark would have probably been episode number 1. Yeah. and a regular player, because it would took 2 minutes before he started making me laugh. After coming into the room, in no time, he's making me laugh and smile. He really was such a sweet guy.
Well, he was like my brother, and I loved him dearly. And I can't quote his one-liners. There's just too many to pick from.
So many.
But he did tell me a secret, and I'm going to pull it back. Jimmy got an XKE Jag.
I got a what?
An XKE Jaguar,
Okay.
like white with a black convertible top and the big 12-cylinder.
Yep.
So we had been doing a session at Tanner one night, and I left, and I was, and Mark was engineering that night. I left and went home, and then I heard the next day that his car caught on fire. Yeah,
Dang.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. But Mark and I were talking about that. I said, well, how in the world, what happened that his car caught on fire? And he said, well, we were up there talking about you and how he was going to ask you out. And I was like, what? What? Was this a whole conspiracy thing? Did you coach him or what? He goes, yes, I did. So I'm like, okay, because Jimmy was real shy too. He wasn't
really?
Yes, very, very.
He had no problem being out on front.
He had to get an alternate. He got an alternate personality to do that.
Yeah. Had to turn it on, turn it off.
Well,
sometimes couldn't turn it off. Probably.
Yeah.
Well, I always wanted to meet Jimmy. And I don't know if you saw the episode we interviewed Pete Mendillo.
I have not seen it, but and Pete is a dear friend of mine.
Go back and look it up and watch it because Pete told great stories about Jimmy.
Oh, God.
And,
you want to hear a funny one?
Tell me.
So he gets the opportunity to audition. Was it for Jimmy solo or Survivor?
I'm pretty sure it was solo.
Okay. So he has this audition lined up to audition for Jimmy, right? So he shows up and he's not there yet. They're just kind of getting together and they're setting up and he's nervous. He's like, man, this is pretty intense. So he walks in and he picks like a slow song, right? It was it was a more obscure song. He's like, well, this is interesting. And, was pleasant to Pete. Hello. But that was it. Kind of just, let's get to business. And when they started the song, he sang the whole song like Popeye. And we find out he did a good Popeye impersonation. Yeah. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, among others.
And he said that just made it so loose, and he was such a nice guy, and that he got the gig.
Helped Pete relax. Yeah. To be able to play the gig.
Yeah, and he got the job and everything, and that set the tone. That kind of just loosened everything up and made it comfortable for him.
Well, that's how really he got me, because he made me laugh even when I was really mad and was ready to just, hey, he would do something really silly and goofy. I mean, and just, he was very, very funny.
So let's talk about Jimmy, if you don't mind.
I don't mind a bit.
Okay, so you guys get married in the mid-'80s?
1985.
1985.
He insisted on May 1st because that's the day Elvis and Priscilla got married.
Oh.
Look at that.
Big Elvis fan.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people are. Yeah, I think,
especially in this area.
One of Jimmy's idols, and who wouldn't be? Mm-hmm. Elvis was great. He didn't get the appreciation here he deserved till after he died.
Sure.
Which is pretty usual for Memphis.
Well, I was about to say, I feel like that might apply to Jimmy as well, because while Jimmy was well known, I don't feel like he got the recognition that he deserved while he was here either.
No, he did not. And I just think it's because we have so many great musicians here.
This town is full of it.
It's
amazing.
But I was
crazy.
I was shocked to see that just now he was inducted into the Memphis Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Why did that take so long? That didn't make sense to me. I don't know.
I mean, we didn't get the brass note till after he passed away. And it's like call after call after call. Yeah. And I tag teamed some of my girlfriends, and we would just constantly say, why? And I finally said, because Leo Goff, who's a great bass player as well.
Yeah, he plays with Royal Blue. He plays with the Jack Rawle King.
Yes, and several other blues bands. But his son, Lil Leo, was like the #1 rap engineer in Memphis. He came up with beats and sounds.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he worked with Yo Gotti. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they gave him double, brass notes. And I went down to Rum Boogie, and I just said, why do we have to wait till people die to recognize their work?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they have on some, but I think of Jimmy Griffin from Bread. He's from Memphis. He went to school here. He's an Oscar winner. And I know his widow is Greg Redding's sister-in-law. So, and I'm best friends with Greg's wife and, of course, Marty. And I just wonder, why haven't they recognized him?
Yeah.
You know, why? And there are more. And, I just ask them. And
I'm sure the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
it does. And it's just...
But it did happen finally.
But Memphis is spoiled rotten. That's the problem. They have music on every street corner. You'll hear players better than any other city in the world, I think.
So what was life like with Jimmy through all the music and the touring and what was...
Well, I took over because at one point Jimmy and I were just on the same level. And, I could have gone out or he could have gone out. And knowing that I don't think he could have done breakfast and packed lunches and done the homework. And because of my business degree, I'm real good at accounting. So I stayed home. I did all the tax work, kept everything together, the children. If he needed me, he'd call me. Sometimes he'd have trouble with sound engineers on the road. He'd call me to come out. I need help. They loved seeing me coming. They were like...
Here she comes again.
It's Debbie.
The B word.
Whoa.
So I have a question about Jimmy's life's work.
Oh, goodness.
Did he have something that he felt was his best work? Because I know what I've heard and what I feel like was the pinnacle of Jimmy Jameson. What did Jimmy Jameson think was the pinnacle of Jimmy
He was
Jameson?
always searching for that next. He never settled.
Never settled. Never said, "Hey, that's the best I got." Or
no.
He just kept reaching.
Yes.
He didn't look backwards and appreciate one moment more than the other.
I think
was he prouder of certain moments in retrospect?
I think he really enjoyed when they had the symphony orchestra.
Oh, that's cool.
And he got to do some of the more intricate songs with an orchestra.
Sure.
And he actually did something with the orchestra here, doing an Elvis thing with them once, which he really did all the Elvis moves and everything. But I have to tell you, Jimmy really liked being home with his family. He loved his family. He loved sports. I can't tell you how many broken objects are in the den. He played football in high school.
Okay.
He hurt his knee real bad, too. He had to wear a knee brace for the rest of his life. I mean, you'd never know that. Yeah. Because he, that knee just always gave him trouble. But he just loved music, and he loved writing it. And he'd get me up we had a little home studio, 2 a.m. I've been up with the babies all day in the school. And, Debbie, you got to get up. Come do this part. We got to do it now. And I'd run out there. The kids named it the Daddy-O.
The Daddy-O.
The Daddy-O.
He's probably responsible for selling more pairs of parachute pants than any other musician.
More than MC Hammer?
There's a video of him. I can't remember what song it is, but he's wearing red parachute pants on stage. Yeah. And I believe that's probably the reason I own
And this is before MC Hammer?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he was a trendsetter.
What year? That had to have been late.
Oh, my Lord.
A trailblazer.
86, 87, my guess is.
Yeah.
80, something like that.
But he. So, all of us make bad choices sometimes.
At the time, that was a great choice. That was popular. Everybody loved it.
Some of the greatest things I have, he bought for me. He said, "You're going to look better in this." He'd tell me what to wear, which I didn't mind because I'm, pretty laid back.
What was his tour schedule like? Would he be gone for weeks and months? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he do a lot of Japan?
Yes. I went to Japan with him twice, which was really fun. The last time we went, I was 7 months pregnant with our daughter.
Wow.
They lost my luggage.
Oh, man.
They lose the pregnant woman's luggage.
In Japan.
In Japan.
That's got to be fun.
Luckily, I had on a blue jean jumper and just borrowed Jimmy's T-shirts. But that was a trip. Oh, my God. That was so fun.
Was that Survivor?
That was a sort of, no, it was Jimmy's Survivor, which they had a whole war about, for 10 years.
Yeah, the whole name, legal name, ownership type.
And then Bobby Kimball as bringing his Toto. Which they were playing at the naval base over there in northern Japan.
Okay.
And I love Japan. It was really, really cool. there are no homeless people in Japan.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Just learn something new every day.
Interesting.
There's not a whole lot of that going on here. What are you talking
Please.
about?
Are you kidding? Oh, my. But yeah, he was, and he was always funny. He was always sweet. He had the biggest heart, but Bobby Kimball was just a character, When we went to leave, and the tour manager was so nice, Bobby went to every room and got all the little liquor, the little shot or whatever things they've been. He got all the liquor in every room and brought it on the bus.
Nice.
And here comes no.
Smart man.
Here comes the tour manager. Okay, who took it? We have to put it back because I'm not paying for it.
Sure,
yeah, we had to do that. But
and whoever wants to return all the pillows and the robes, what's going on here?
Well, they didn't take the pillows and robes, but they charge you for those too.
Yeah, for sure. Any like hoot level trashings of rooms?
No.
No Motley Crue style stuff going on?
No, they weren't that. No.
Because they wanted to make money.
Those boys must have gotten pretty wild out there. I do have to tell you about a little part of my career that we've never mentioned.
Okay, go for it.
When I was really young, like 17, 18, we got a little group together and a little group of like hippies and outlaws. Mm-hmm. And we got a production company called Razzle Dazzle Production. We pooled our money as a co-op. And we brought to the show, we brought Deep Purple and Poco and the Allman Brothers.
No kidding.
And the Allman Brothers.
At the Shell?
The Shell.
Wow.
Yeah. And they had a big fence around it then, right? So we could charge to get in and all. But Greg and Dwayne slept on I made them a pallet on my living room floor.
Look at that.
And I got up the next morning to cook them food, and then take them to the venue. They were gone. Oh. And I was like, oh my God, where'd they go? And so I get in my little Volkswagen bus because I'm a little hippie chick. It's got butterflies and mushrooms on it. And I'm driving around, go over to the venue. And I go in and I'm looking. I finally find them. They didn't even take a bath or anything. I was like, what? People. And I said, what have you? Where did you? What? I was freaking out a little bit. And they said, we just want to see where we're playing, and we heard us over here, so we just walked over, and because I lived right there at Overton Square. Okay. And they walked over, and they said they didn't believe it was us. So we had to climb the fence to get in. So, just a little story, But that's just how I grew up.
Yeah. And you've just been engulfed in the scene and the industry.
Yeah.
All your life.
And my dad was a golf pro. I spent the first 5 years of my life on the PGA Tour.
Wow.
So that's kind of odd, right?
That's different.
Yeah, you've lived a very boring life, Debbie.
I have had so much drama that I don't need any more ever. I just
understand.
So let's air it out all right now.
Let's just get it all out. No, I mean negative drama.
Yeah. No, that's what this show is not about that at all. No. So we keep it positive here for sure. And it sounds like you had just an awesome career and you still have one. I'm
still going. Still doing stuff. And
well, you will see our faces in the audience at Neil's for the Deb Jam Band quite a bit more often.
Yeah, and you're up there playing percussion too.
Yeah, I play congas. Tom Leonardo, who's awesome. He teaches drumming and percussion. And I played with the Tony Thomas Trio for quite a few years. If you don't know who Tony Thomas is, again, he's just like probably the best keyboard player in the city. And Sam Shoup was on bass.
I've heard that name.
He teaches at Memphis State, University of Memphis now. And Leonardo was a drummer, and we played over, it was where Bosco's is now, but it was a different club then. We played there for like 3 years every weekend. So I just stayed busy, and I had children to support. I didn't want to travel anymore. Yeah. Played with the Jim Johnson Orchestra, which was, we played at those super rich parties, like for Campbell's Soup families. And
I've never been invited to one of those.
Well, it was a society band, had a 5-piece horn
section. If you play another one and you need a roadie, let me know.
Jim couldn't take us anymore. We were a little. He was very Southern. He talked like that. And he'd go, now y'all kids need to stay out of the liquor.
Out of the liquor.
Liquor, you know, and of course we'd be in a van on the way to the venue and everybody would start, does anybody know where the liquor's going to be at this party? Because we ready to get down. And Jim would go, don't y'all start now. It was hilarious. We had a lot of fun with that too. My cousin and I sang with them, so.
Well, that's outstanding. Yeah, the times have changed. It just doesn't seem as fun nowadays like it used to be back in the day.
Look, when Jimmy would be home and I had gigs, like I played with Tio Earnhardt, which I probably half the people in Memphis have played with. He's no longer with us either. Mm-hmm. But he'd go to my gigs with me. You know, he'd drive. I'd be changing clothes in the back seat, you know, because we had worked and just gotten through and on our way to a gig. And he was really, really supportive of me, which I appreciated very much. And we love singing together.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing this with us today, Debbie.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. I got a little nervous about the snow, but...
We'll be home before that hits.
I haven't peeled back the curtains yet. I don't know what's going on out there.
Don't show me.
We're in a bubble right now.
Yeah.
But well, that's awesome. Look, I appreciate you doing this, like I said, and I know our audience is going to enjoy hearing all of those stories.
I hope so.
Because you're bringing up names that honestly have never come up really on this show because it's a different era. It's further back, you know, but it's still good, and we want more of that, you know.
Well, I think the history it's important to know the history of what goes on.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. And gosh, in the year we've been doing this podcast, I've learned so much about this amazing community. It's awesome. But to have you in here is a delight.
Oh, y'all are way too nice. And it was my pleasure.
Well, thank you for doing it. And we can't wait to see you again at Neil's with the Deb Jam Band.
All right.
And thank you, audience, for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed that awesome discussion and talk and interview with Debbie. Also, go patronize our title sponsor if you could. HempvilleCBD.com. At checkout, TRS20 is your promo code. That will get you 20% off at checkout. Also, talk about our band sponsors.
Yeah, man.
Jeff.
Thank you, Area 51, Shawn Few, and Seeing Red. You guys are amazing. We appreciate your support. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Rhythm Section Pod.
Yes, and the rhythmsectionpod.com is your one-stop shop for everything we do. But the last thing we must say, people, is get off your butt and go out and see a band.
Support local music.
Tuesday nights, the Deb Jam Band, Neil's, every Tuesday for 10 years.
You will not be disappointed. Go check them out.
Go check it out. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
See you next time.
Thank you, guys.